Before watching the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel and enable bell notification to never miss an update from us.
Hello everyone and welcome to the session. This is Ashima Shukla, and in this video we're going to talk about current events that have happened which might be important from the examination point of view as well. Now, since being the few of the latest sessions of mine, I would like to tell you a few tips from my end, although I might have said it before as well, and that include the point that when we're studying about current affairs or when we're talking about the events of current affairs, we need to look at all the sides of current events as well. All the sides, that means that any news event which was in the past and has been in news, or something which is related to static information, but it has come out of the events due to whatever reason being it. So these are the few sides that we need to look around, because when we look at the sides around, you'll find that most examination papers are formed from either the main side, that is the news which we see, or from the sidebread that we normally ignore, or we feel that this might not be important. So in the session or in the series that we are having of Daily Dose of Current Affairs with me, we are going to look at all the sides, that is that all the possible perspectives that are there all around, and the main news event as well. So that is why this video has been made in descriptive form, taking into consideration that we need to look at the other sides as well, right? So, carrying our discussion forward, the first news event is that Swiggy has taken over street food vendors online. Now, for the street food vendors, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has signed an MOU. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs is the ministry which is handling the PM Swanidhi scheme. Now, PM Swanidhi scheme is for street vendors, right? For the small vendors or the street vendors, and that is being handled by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Now, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has signed an MOU with Swiggy. What is this MOU about? This MOU is about the fact that now Swiggy is going to make these street vendors go online. That is, help them create their PAN card, help them create their menu online, help them in the delivery of their food products online, because at this pandemic time, everything is about being online, right? Due to social distancing and stuff. So this scheme has been launched basically in 5 cities as of now, as you can see over here. The 5 cities are Chennai, Ahmedabad, Indore, Delhi, and Varanasi. These are the 5 cities on which Swiggy is working as of now, and it will help them in handling the technology, in checking out the hygiene of the place, menu digitization. So all these things will be helped over there. And then when these street vendors go online on a better scale, at that time what will happen is that this scheme is going to be spread up to other cities as well. So it is not limited to these 5 cities, but this is a pilot project right now. So when we talk about pilot project, there are certain number limited. So these 5 cities are limited. Possible question can be that which of the following cities were the pilot project cities of the Swiggy MOU with Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, right? Initial which were there. Next of all, what we have is about PM Swanidhi Yojana. Now, I'm telling you that this scheme or this MOU is concerned with PM Swanidhi Yojana. So, what is exactly in this Yojana? This is a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So, PM Swanidhi scheme is a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, and it has been launched with a validity till 2022. 2022, maybe it is in March. So until March 2022, it is valid, and it is going to help street vendors in rural areas and peri-urban areas to just help them establish themselves. It's a micro credit facility. So it is a micro credit facility which will help them establish themselves. So they're going to provide subsidy in loans and various schemes which will be launched along with the process of it, right? So what are the prospective questions that we can have? First of all, which ministry is handling the PM Swanidhi scheme? Second of all, in June month, PM Swanidhi scheme was handed over to Sbi for management. So Ministry of Housing Affairs had given the rights of managing this scheme to Sbi. So this can be asked as a possible question that which organization was given the rights of managing PM Swanidhi scheme? So that is Sbi. Next of all, with whom has MOU been signed? That is Swiggy. Fourth question is that now, since it is about Swiggy after all, there can be a possible question that who is the CEO of Swiggy? Who is the CEO of Swiggy or who is the COO of Swiggy? So both the possible questions are there. Now CEO is Sri Harsha Majesty. Sri Harsha Majesty is the CEO of Swiggy and COO is Vivek Sundar. Right? It is an Indian company. Next thing that possibly is an important part is that it is an Indian company. Where is it based or where are the headquarters of it? Now headquarters of Swiggy are in Bengaluru. So headquarters is also clear. Next, in which year was it founded? So it was formed in 2014. So formed in 2014. So these are the possible static questions from the perspective of Swiggy and PM Swanidhi, right? Now we'll be moving forward to the next news event, that is a referendum in New Caledonia. Now New Caledonia location I have shown you in the map over here, that is near Australia and New Zealand. Here is New Caledonia in the Pacific waters or in the southwest region of Pacific Ocean. Now what is the referendum about? New Caledonia is not an independent organization. It is still a colony of France. It is a French colony and France governs this area still. So a referendum was held in the perspective that whether it should be an independent country or it should continue to be governed by French or France government. It was discovered in 1774. Now since New Caledonia has come up in the news, we can expect a few questions as to when it was discovered or when it became a French colony. So the basic timeline is in 1774, James Cook discovered it. In 1853, French took it, and in 1953, they gave the citizenship. And since then, they are a French colony. So 1774, after that 1853 is important when French took over, and then 1953 when they gave the citizenship to the people of New Caledonia, right? These are three important years for them. Now, New Caledonia is an important country because 10% of the world nickel reserves are in New Caledonia. So it is an important country from the mineral perspective of from the part that it is a mineral rich country for copper. Now, first we'll talk about these accords and then I'll tell you how many countries are there exactly, because this is not the only country which is a colony. As per United Nations, there are a few more countries. In a total, if we talk about, there are 17 total countries which are non-self-governing. That is, they are not independent right now. They are, governed by some or the other major country. So that is important for us. That is, their decolonization process has not been complete. So the total of 17 countries are there which are not independent as of now, as per the list of United Nations. Right now, okay, so the next point is about the peace accords. Now, there were in 1998 there were two accords which were signed. One was Matignon Accord and one was Nomia Accord. Now, as per the Matignon Accord, self-determination referendum was to be held after 10-year period. So after 10 years, the referendum was supposed to be held and the people will decide whether they want to be a part of an independent country or they want themselves to be governed by another country. That was about Matignon Accord. The second accord, which is an important one for now, is Nomia Accord. Now, what is about this Nomia Accord? According to Nomia Accord, there will be 3 referendums in total. So, after the 10 years, there is going to be referendums and the referendums are going to be 3 in total. And they will decide after that 3 referendums, it is a final decision. So if any of the referendum it is decided that they want to be independent, they will be. If all the 3 have the same result, they are going to be a colony for the rest of the time. Right. Now, this referendum, which we are talking about, that is in 2020, this referendum was the final of the three. Final, that means it was a third referendum. That means now this country does not have any accord of being independent now. This was the last of the three, and they have given a final decision that they want to be a French colony. How come a country can decide on this part? Like in the times like these, when a few countries are fighting for being independent, like there is Bougainville fighting for being independent from New Guinea, right? A recent referendum was held in that last year. In 2019, we had heard about New Bougainville fighting a referendum from New Guinea. So how come in that time this country is deciding to be a colony? In New Caledonia, there are two divisions. There's a European division and then there's a Kanak population. Right? The Kanaks are indigenous people, that is the natives of the place, and they want to be independent. They definitely want to be independent. But the European side of the people, they want that this should not be an independent territory. So it is a fight between two divisions that you should know, that is European and Kanak. All right. So this is about referendum in New Caledonia. The location is important. That is, it is in Pacific Ocean. Second of all, which countries? It is nearby Australia and New Zealand. Third one, it is a colony of which country? France. Fourth, Nomia Accord. Fifth, Matignon Accord. And sixth, the major reserve of mineral in it, that is nickel reserves. And then the seventh one that comes up is the timeline that might be asked, which is not quite possible for banking examinations, but for other examinations, we can expect a few questions, right? Next is about India and France missions. Now, what is about this? The recent news is that a constellation of maritime surveillance satellites to monitor illegal spillage of oil in Indian Ocean is to be made by India and France, which will be centered in India for sure. That is, India is going to have the center of this constellation, or this constellation of satellites we're talking about, not constellation of stars. It is about satellites. The constellation of satellites is going to be formed, in which France is going to help India, and in that what they are going to look up is that there should be less oil spillage. So tracking up of all the ships is going to be happening, right? Remote sensing will be happening, telecommunication, all these kind of satellites will be formed, so that if by any chance any spillage happens, it can be controlled at that time, and the most possible thing is that they should be avoiding that, right? Now, apart from this, India and France have had various missions together as well. So it is not the first kind of a mission that we are having in terms of technology. We have had various other missions as well. So what are those missions? First is Trishna. Trishna stands for Tropicus and Saral Altica, which is a thermal infrared observer. It is going to be a part of the constellation, but it was an individual project initiated. So Trishna mission was an independent one, which monitors the water cycle of Earth's surface. So basically what it looks is that about soil, agriculture, water quality, it manages that. So it handles that and it manages that, and what kind of we can expect in future. That are the things that are in this Krishna mission. So it helps measure the surface temperature also. It helps in understanding or practical application of the soil, of the agriculture sector that can be there. So basically the water cycle, right? Apart from this, we have had this Gaganyaan mission that we are working on, in which the astronauts are being trained in France as of now. So India and France are working together on Gaganyaan, in which the astronauts are being trained in France as of now. Although the project is completely Indian, but the training center is not there in India, so they are being trained in France. Apart from that, this is not the only project that India has in terms of other celestial body project. Another project is a Shukrayaan. So we have a project of Shukrayaan as well, which is about Venus. So Venus mission of India is by the name Shukrayaan, and in this also France is helping India, right? So India is being supported or in various ways by France. Apart from this, India and France have two climate and ocean weathering sites. So that is a Megatropicus and Saral Altica. Megatropicus and Saral Altica. These are the two monitoring satellites that we have. In 2011, Megatropicus was established. In 2013, Saral Altica was there, and both of them are the ones which help with climate and ocean. So they help with climate monitoring and with ocean monitoring. They help with climate monitoring and ocean weather monitoring. And Krishna we have, then we have Gaganyaan, we have Shukrayaan, and now we have a constellation for illegal spillage of oil. So these are the few important missions, or you can say technological missions, which we have with India and France, between India and France. All right. Moving to the next one. We come to a few one-liners now. The first one being Yuddh Pradushan Ke Viruddh. So it is a mega anti-pollution campaign. Now Delhi is one of the most polluted cities of India. So definitely we need pollution control in the place. So for this pollution control, Delhi government has launched Yuddh Pradushan Ke Viruddh mega anti-pollution campaign, and according to this they are going to see about the implementation of various schemes so that the reduction of pollution level can be done easily. So technology is going to be held and developed, and stubble burning, because one of the major reasons of pollution in Delhi is stubble burning. Stubble burning does not happen in Delhi. It happens in Punjab and UP side and Haryana side. And due to the wind direction of that time, the time when the stubble burning happens, the wind direction is towards Delhi. So all the pollution goes over there. And till the time the pollution reaches Delhi, the wind flow stops. We all know about that. You will study in geography, most of you might have studied. So wind direction stops, or flow of wind stops at the time when the pollution reaches near to Delhi. So in that timeline, what happens is that pollution clouds over the Delhi, which causes the problem to the people of Delhi. That is why stubble burning is one of the major issues that need to be taken care of. And for this, under this mega anti-pollution campaign, Pusa Agriculture Institute is going to help them. Right. Apart from this, a new policy has also come up in Delhi. The new policy is that when any agency cuts down trees in Delhi, in any area, they want to develop something and they cut the trees. So if they cut the trees, they will have to plant at least 80% of those trees in a new place or a new spot. So they have to find, so if they have decided that they want to build something on one area, they'll have to find a new spot to plant at least 80% of the cut trees in that area. So a balance can be maintained to a certain extent. So not 100%, because it is not always possible that you find a spot, but at least 80% so that this can be done. Now this project, this idea has also been taken over in Maharashtra recently. That is why you can link it to the place of Maharashtra. So it was taken over in Maharashtra as well when a certain project was going on. It is a very recent news in which certain project was going on. So the government has decided that whenever any company wants to build anything in that area, they'll have to plant the trees, and according to them, it was supposed to be, I guess, double the amount that they have to plant in the other area, right? So this is a few environmental steps that are taken, and since environmental issues are on the top priority right now in these days, seeing about the environmental records that are coming up, reports that are coming up. Recently, a report was released by United Nations also. So seeing the reports that are being released, the environmental issues need, special concern, and therefore examinations are also very much concerned about agriculture and environment in these days. Okay. Next, World Space Week. World Space Week is observed in October, from 4th of October to 10th of October. So first of all, priority things are the theme, which are a possible concern. Theme of 2020 and 2021 both were there. 2020 theme was Satellites Improve a Life, and 2021 theme was Women in Space. Apart from this important thing that you might think about is that why October 4 and why October 10? These are the few things that can be asked in an indirect form. All right. So first of all, why October 4th? Because first man-made satellite was Sputnik. So first man-made satellite Sputnik was launched from Earth on 4th of October. So the launch of Sputnik is why 4th of October, and why it ends on 10th of October. Now in 10th of October, the Outer Space Treaty was signed, right? So the Treaty of Principles, which is also known as Outer Space Treaty, and Outer Space Treaty is also known as Magna Carta of Space. Magna Carta of Space. So Outer Space Treaty is also known as Magna Carta of Space, and that was signed on 10th of October. That is why the World Space Week is from 4th of October to 10th of October. Now you must know about Outer Space Treaty as well. Outer Space Treaty basically was opened up in 1967, and it basically governs that it says lays out certain regulations that, like, there is no country which can claim any celestial body, or it provides regulations of asteroid mining, that mining should be regulated in that area as well. And no country, like spaces of all the countries, no country can say that this country cannot send any satellite or it cannot send any rocket. No, they can send. It's open to everyone, but nuclear weapons are prohibited in that area. So the regulations of how the outer space should be managed, because we don't know, we can't trust humans these days. So treaty for everything has to be made, right? That is why this treaty is known as Magna Carta, because it regulates a lot of things. It does not ban military activities, but there is another treaty known as PAROS, Prevention of Armed Race in Outer Space, which kind of governs a bit of arms in that area, but it does not completely ban military activities. Right, so that is going to be more important for UPSC aspirants about Outer Space Treaty and stuff. Next, the recent news, first Nobel Prize of 2020 has been announced. So in 2020, first Nobel Prize is of Medicine and Physiology, which has been announced recently. It has been given to 3 people, that is Harvey J. Alter, Charles M. Rice, and Michael Houghton, and all 3 have been given for discovery of hepatitis C virus. Now, since the Nobel Prize has been given for hepatitis C virus, we must know about the fact that how hepatitis C spreads. Hepatitis C virus spreads from blood-to-blood contact, just like AIDS, and it can be spread from, just like AIDS virus, that is transfusion, needle stick injuries, or it can be transferred from mother to the baby as well. Right, and there is no vaccine right now. The virus has been discovered for the first time. How can we expect a vaccine? So definitely there is no vaccine as of now for hepatitis C virus. Right, vaccines are there for hepatitis A and B. Now this can be a possible thing for you, that vaccine is there for hepatitis A and hepatitis B, but for hepatitis C it is not there. Apart from this, what other possible things that you must know is about Nobel Prize. So when was the first Nobel Prize awarded? First Nobel Prize was awarded in 1901. How many Nobel Prizes were created by Alfred Nobel? Now that is important, that how many were there in the total at the time when Alfred Nobel had created. So there were 5 Nobel Prizes. Total of 5 Nobel Prizes have been created by Alfred Nobel. For economics, all of you might know that Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Science is the real name of Nobel Prize in Economics. This has been asked in banking examination a couple of times, that what is the original name of, what is the real name of Nobel Prize of Economics? That is Sveriges Riksbank Prize. Sometimes they might ask you that when the Nobel Prize is announced, they can ask you that who is the recipient of Sveriges Riksbank's prize recently in economic sciences. So that is a possible question. So you must know that the real name of economics prize is Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences. Another thing is that the awarding of all these Nobel Prizes happens in Sweden, right? All the prizes are given in Sweden except for Peace Prize. Peace Prize is not given in Sweden, it is given in Norway. Right? So Sweden prize, all the Nobel Prizes are given in Sweden, whereas Nobel Prize of Peace is given in Norway. Right? Moving to the next one. Ministry of Electronics and IT, MEIT and Niti Aayog are organizing a summit on artificial intelligence by the name RISE 2020. Now, what is the full form of RISE? That is Responsible Artificial Intelligence for Social Empowerment 2020. This is the full form of RISE 2020, and you must know the full form because abbreviations can be asked. So from the abbreviations point of view, RISE is important. It is going to be held from 5th to 9th of October, and it is a virtual summit and a global summit. Who are the organizers? MEIT, Ministry of Electronics and IT, and Niti Aayog are the organizers. Right. Next, Ravi Santhanam, who is of HDFC Bank. He is the only Indian in Forbes list of India's most influential chief marketing officers. Ravi Santhaman is a chief marketing officer of HDFC Bank. First thing, first question. Second question, who is the only Indian in Forbes list of India's most influential CMOs? That is also Ravi Santhanam. All right. These are the two possible questions from this part. Next, Niti Aayog, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy and Invest India will organize a global symposium called India PV Edge 2020. So we can expect a possibility of a question that who is going to organize, who is the organizer of India PV Edge? That was Niti Aayog, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy and Invest India. Why Ministry of New and Renewable Energy? Because this is concerned with the solar energy. Right. So we are talking about solar energy and generation of solar power in this. Right. Now the second part, solar energy is something which is concerned with India because International Solar Alliance, ISA, is headquartered in India. So where are the headquarters of ISA? That is important and has been asked a couple of times. It is in Gurugram. So Gurugram has the headquarters of ISA. It was a joint initiative in which India has the headquarters. Now it is the first international organization who's headquartered in India. Right? So that is why it is important. Now, another thing before we wind up this topic, there is a World Solar Bank as well, which has been established by India. So there is a World Solar Bank. This World Solar Bank has been established in India when recently ISA Summit 2020 was held. So this was established in ISA 2020 Summit. So it is again a news event which is concerned with, just not today's, but it is of this year. Right. So ISA has established a World Solar Bank, and now we all know that NDB, New Development Bank, is led by China. Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank is also there. Similarly, for providing of solar energy to the country as well as to the world, right? So you can say that sharing of the energy that will happen. So ISA has done this, in which India is leading, and India has led with a stake of 30% in that, right? India's stake in this is 30%, which is important. And second of all, who is leading it? India is leading it, right? Now, with this, the news events are complete. But before I leave, I expect that all of you might be knowing about this current affairs quiz that happens on the app of Entri. This is a very important thing for all of you because since you're practicing and you go through every day, you go through so many current events. So you must be practicing somewhere, right? Where you can go for questions for everyday practice. So you can download this Entri app from Google Play Store and open the app, go to the banking and insurance sector section, and there you can go to current affairs segment. Once you go to current affairs segment, you will find these quizzes which have 10 questions and you have to complete them in 6 minutes. So 10 questions in 6 minutes, and you will be marked also. So there are going to be negative marking is also going to be there. It's going to be exactly like you find in the examination. After that, you will also find your scorecard over there, and then there's going to be answer key, analytics of your total time you took, how much time you gave per question. Everything is going to be analyzed, and this is going to help you in everyday practice and retaining of the memory of all the questions or all the news events that you go through, right? So do download this app. Also subscribe to the channel, like the video if you find this video very helpful to your preparation, and I hope this has added to your knowledge. Also do comment about your views on the video and whether you like it or not. Do let us know about that. So, and do not forget to share the video. Thank you so much for being with us, and I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much. See you later. Goodbye. Take care and have a great day ahead.